Oh, how you doing? Right, let's get into this.
Let's move on, cause it's time to move on.
How you doing? So yesterday I had a red battery icon that came on this Range Rover and I needed to change the alternator. It's a 2005 L322 and it's the Vogue, it's the 3-litre diesel. So I did a video yesterday, changed the alternator. It was a bit of a task, but we got through it. And because I had to disconnect the battery and also the fact that the voltage is low, there's every chance now that there's going to be a few faults. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to show you iCarsoft Range Rover Diagnostics that I've got on this. And let's go through it and let's clear some faults and you can actually see for yourself what this can do. Okay, so here's the main screen. It powers up by just turning the key. You don't need to have the engine on, but you need to have the key turned so that the ignition powers your OBD. Right, so diagnostic, this is the main screen here. You've got service, which is for, well, let's go into it, I'll show you. So service is things like this: oil reset, electric parking brake, battery monitoring system, steering angle sensor, DPF, etc, etc. But what we're interested in today is the diagnostic, because I want to try and clear these faults that potentially are on this car. So let's go into that diagnostic. Just use your thumb here with the arrows on to control through the menus. Pretty straightforward. These are all the cars I've got. I've done another video on actually how you can get up to 10 cars on this iCarsoft. So I've loaded all these on. They just kind of picked up sort of the ones that I thought would be the most useful to me. So Land Rover, let's go into that. Now this is just the software because you can update it lifetime updates. So 11.3 is going to be the newer version to the 11.15. So I'm going to go 11.3 and this is now going to bring up all the different chassis numbers of what Land Rover have got. So Defender, Discovery, Discovery Sport, etc. So this is, I'm going to go through them all. Range Rover Vogue. It's Range Rover Vogue, the one I've got. So I'm just going to go into Range Rover itself. Here's the years. These are important because this now pretty much goes down to your particular car. So this is a 2005, so it's not 2006. There's obviously a change on that year. Here we go, L322, that's definitely the one. Let's press enter on that. Smart scan, manual scan. I'm going to go smart scan. The difference is when you go into manual scan, if I go into that quickly now, you can go directly to the item that is in question that you may have an issue with. So if it's ABS, you can select it. That's what I find the difference is. So let's go back. Let's go to smart scan, and this is now going to talk to the car. And as it goes through, you'll see on the dashboard certain lights, there we go, will start to pop up. And that's as this is going through its system scanning. Don't worry about it. Airbag light popping up there, going on and off. That's just the system doing its thing. And once we get to, on this occasion, 30, then we can go in and start playing with it and see what we can find. And there we go. Right, so some of them are pretty self-explanatory, like ABS, airbag. Some of them, though, it's just best to go into them. And I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to go all the way through so you can see at first hand what is involved and what you can do with iCarsoft. So let's go into that. So just press the enter key. Module information, well, that'll tell you actually about the device. So if it's an ABS controller, what the make is, etc. So I'll have a quick show you on that. There we go, it's got the part number, tells you some other more fundamentals there, software version as well. So that could be useful if you're perhaps looking for a replacement part and you know exactly what software was on it so that you get the right one for the age of the car. So let's go back, so F1 to go back, and you've got read fault code, that's the important one. So let's go into this. Here we go, look, straight away off the bat, P0733. It's coming up with a sporadic fault, that's the state, and the gear 3 incorrect ratio. No, I know exactly what this is. So this particular car, I had to get the gearbox reconditioned because they have a unfortunate fault that even though this particular car is a BMW engine and setup, the gearbox is General Motors, and they're not very good at all. And due to the fact that the car has got 144,000 miles, it just had its time, and I had to get the oil cooler change and basically complete recondition new gearbox. So these are probably historic faults. So I'm going to go into the next one. Says there's 1 of 3. So if I press the right key, transmission component slipping. Yeah, well, again, this would be linked back to when I had the issue with the gearbox. And the next one is gear 2 incorrect ratio. Now, let's go back and clear this fault. So it's a good example, and we'll see if it comes back again. Hopefully not. So let's go back. Clear fault code, that's the next one down. Let's hit that. Gives you a warning message. Fault code and freeze data information will be erased. Are you sure? Yes. F2 to go. Erasing code's done. F1 go back. Right, now go back into refault code and see what happens. There we go. No fault codes are found. And that's because obviously I've got the gearbox completed, repaired, overhauled, and those were just the old information sitting on the computer's ECU. So let's go back and let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's go into at Siemens and see what's going on here. This time I'm going to go down to view data. And here you've got all the different aspects that you can check, and this will be live information, inputs, outputs. So I'm going to go into gears. Well, the engine's not on, but the ignition is on, importantly. And here we go, look, first gear, gear ratio, and we're in park. And yes, this is very much in park. There's the park there. So it's a good way of physically testing to make sure that the item that you're checking is functioning as it should, and quite rightly so. If I move this down into R for reverse, there you go, you can see it's changed to R. Neutral, and of course the last one is drive, and we're in drive. So there we are. So this can give you the live information so that you can test whatever aspect that you need to do. Inputs, outputs, pressures. Oh, that's interesting. Speeds. What pressures is? Let's see. Okay, so with the engine speed on, let's try it and see. There we go. 6,832 revs per minute. We've got system pressure, torque converter, clutch. Yeah, it's all there. It's not bad, is it? Not bad at all. Go to the next one. Yeah, there you go. Let's turn the engine off so we can hear what we're doing. Right, so let's go into refault code and see if there's any faults here. No fault codes, good. Let's go to the next one. So with the second one down, ABS. I don't think there's any issues with the ABS. This one is saying that it's not connected. Now this could be because the engine's not on. Let's try it and see. Go back, F1, go into it again, refault code, there we go. So the ABS is telling me that temporary system deactivated, so that must be that I remember doing the brakes and I deactivated the ABS. So again, this is probably a historic code, and there's your code at the top, which is 5A. So I'm going to come back out of that, I'm going to clear that memory, I'm going to press F2 to clear. Erase operation done. Right, now I'm going to go back into read fault code, and let's see what happens. And the fault code has gone. So happy days. Okay, let's go back, let's try the next one. I'll leave the engine on. Airbag. Read fault codes. I'm very much hoping there's no issue with the fault code. Let's go into that. Oh, here we go. State none. Supply voltage less than 9.6. Now this has probably come about because I've had to disconnect the battery, and also the battery voltage was low due to the fact that the alternator stopped. So hopefully we clear this and that should resolve that. So we go back. and we go clear fault memory, press F2, erase done. Then we go back, check the fault code again, make sure it's gone, and it's gone. So that's that code cleared. And we go F1 back, and we go back to the next one. So instrumentation, this is your dash. Let's see what happens on this one. So let's go into view data, let's just have a quick look. There we go, brake lining, left fuel tank, right fuel tank. It's got a fair amount of information, and you've got 12 options there. So yeah, this goes a lot deeper than a lot of people actually realise. Importantly, let's go to fault codes and make sure there's nothing there. No fault codes, good. So let's come back out of that and let's go to air conditioning. Let's see what it can tell me with the air conditioning. Read the fault codes. No fault codes, that's good. I wonder what the module, the view data will tell me. Oh look, evaporator temperature, heat exchange temperature, heat steering wheel button. Now this one here, this actually is not working on my car. So let's enter that and see what happens. And there's one of 59 things. So it says F2 down the bottom to start. Communicating. Heated steering wheel not applicable. Now, on my steering wheel, I have a button which is for the heat. So I'm going to press that now, and we're going to see what happens. There's the button. It goes on for a moment and then goes off. See the screen. Oh well, nothing's happening. Never mind. That would have been great if I could have cleared that fault code, but yeah, I've had to live with the first world problems without a heated steering wheel, but I think probably just the element inside's gone and I haven't really been bothered to change it. So let's go back and let's read the fault codes. No fault codes, fine. Okay, now air conditioning we've done. Air suspension. Now there was an air suspension fault that I had because the voltage was low. It's gone. Once you drive the car for a few times it sorts itself. So let's read the fault code. I'm hoping to see that there we go, look, CAN bus faults. That's probably down to the fact that the voltage was low. So we're going to go, by the way, you can record all these faults by pressing F2 if you wanted to, and that means you can go back to them later. Clear fault memory, and fault codes will be erased. Press F2, erase done. Go back into the fault code. Is it there? No, it's not. Done. So that's that cleared. Importantly, if the fault code comes back, then you know you have a permanent fault and you need to check it and make sure you fix that issue. Immobilizer. I don't think there's any problems with the immobilizer. I've never had a problem. Oh, here we go. State none. Code key 3, random code tolerance increased. Again, don't know what that is. So let's go back, let's clear the code. Clear fault memory, F2, done. F1 back, read fault codes, no fault code. So as you can see, there's a lot of historic info on here. Left hand xenon headlights, read fault code. No fault code. Right, in that case I'm not going to bother doing the next one, as in the right hand side. I think that'd be fine. Light check module. What's this one? Reading the fault codes. Oh wow, 1 of 12. Here we go, look at this. Injector system faults. What's the next one? F1 next. Air suspension active, inactive. Now somebody on one of the forums had asked me about the air suspension and what you can do, so I'm going to go into this one and have a look. Transmission emergency program fault. Now all of this relates back to the gearbox issue that I had, and the transmission went into basically limp mode. So a lot of these I'm going to clear, and there's an awful lot. I've got 4 of 12. Brake pad fault. Washer fluid level, well that's just a intermittent normal sensor fault where the water goes low. Check coolant fault, well okay. Left tail light, that's when a bulb was out. I mean all the history is here. Right tail light defective is when I changed the rear lights, etc. Right, not going to bore you with that, so I'm going to go F1, F2, we're going to go back, we're going to clear the fault memory, and I'm hoping that the 12 faults, and there's quite a lot, are all going to stay away now. So let's go back into read fault code. It's obviously a big menu. There we go, no fault codes. So that's that sorted, which is good. Right, I'm going to go back to air suspension, because one of the guys on the forums has asked me about this, so let's go into this and tell you what you can do. Module information tells you all of this, what's going on the screen there. Part number, hardware number, codex index, week of manufacturer, look at that, year of manufacture, so 2003. You can record that obviously. Let's go F1 back. Now let's go into view data. So we got height sensor, offsets, overview. So let's go into height sensor, communicating, front left offside. So there's the heights, 750, 742. So right hand side offset is maybe because I'm sat here and I'm a heavy boy and it's gone down by 8 mil more than the other side. Interestingly, if I was to get out the car, I wonder if that was to go up. Rear left offset, well I'm parked on a hill, so you know it's going to be different. So that looks okay. And the overview, let's go into that there. It's got access button, compressor temperature, down switch. Ah right, okay, so I guess you can test. Okay, let's go back. Front left height, front right height, you know, there's a lot of information there. Reservoir pressure, you can test the up switch. And you've got 43 items, so just to give you an idea here. Motorway LED, hold LED, oh that's the button here where you press it and hold so that it will keep it at that particular height. Rear right bellows valve, great. Standby LED, battery voltage, front left voltage, it's all there, isn't it? So I hope this gives you an idea of just how in-depth that just on the air suspension alone you can get to. Anyway, let's go back out. Immobilize we done, that we done. Body control, what's in that one? Module information, read fault code. Passenger door mirror, vertical motor, open circuit. Yeah, I've had a few issues with the door mirror, but it's working now. I think it just needed to be used. You know, they get a bit sticky. So let's go back, let's clear the fault memory, and we press F2, and then we go back to refault code, and it's gone. So a lot of these look to be historic. Fuel burner heater, memory seats, don't need to worry about that. Multifunction steering wheel. Well, I have got an issue with the heater, but we've already tested it on the other systems, so I'm not going to bother too much. Parking aid. I did have a problem with one of the parking sensors. It's all working now, so good. We got no fault codes, but I had to replace one of the parking sensors. Steering angle sensor, leave that one alone. Steering lock module, transfer box, washer and wipers rain sensor. I think I've disconnected one of these because I got a bit of an issue with my windscreen, sorry, the washer for one of the headlights. Just going to read the fault codes. No fault codes. Good. And that's it. So there we go. That tells you an awful lot what you can do with this system. I hope that gave you some sort of insight on what these can do. There's a lot of people that have asked questions, not just to me, but you know, online I notice, or can it do this and can it do that? And it's a difficult one to answer because every car is different and the menus on each car can be quite in depth. Some of them not so. I've got a little Volkswagen Beetle that's just parked in front there, and that actually can't do very much. But then they tend to use the software like VAG, Badge Software, Volkswagen Audi Group, and you can do a lot more with it on that. But as a day-to-day, small little portable device that, in fact, you can get one of these that does all cars. This one's slightly older, I've got 10 cars. But for something convenient and small like this, you've seen the potential what it can do. And it will certainly clear the faults that you need to. So I'd recommend them for the price. Really good as well. So again, you know, put down any information you want to in the little description box below. I'll perhaps put a website where you can get this, and also I'm going to leave a little link for another video I did, which was when I was doing the same idea but in a Mercedes. So can't say thank you enough to all the people that are giving the likes and thumbs up. I know we all say it, but the reason I ask is if you give me a little thumbs up or a bell, like, whatever, then it tells me that these videos are actually being helpful to others. And that's the whole point of my channel, is to give people the confidence and to save money, and to do that job that maybe you've been putting off, but to give it a go and do it yourself. And I give you that little bit of a hint and tips along the way, so that you know you can tackle it all by yourself. And if you want to subscribe, great. If you don't want to subscribe, it's no problem. You can always choose to subscribe with me and then unsubscribe later on if you don't want to stay with me. But as I always say, if you do want to stay with me, then it's very much appreciated. So until next time, thanks very much.
Let's move on, 'cause it's time to move on.